This is so natural to him. And he was on fire and about to blow up even more on this tour until now. So all of this gets caught up, and then they indict him in Arkansas as a federal case because they're traveling, transporting drugs. So what does he get charged with? Well, he's a convicted felon. So count one is possession of a firearm by a convicted, actually possession of ammunition. If you're a convicted felon, you can't have a firearm or bullets, ammo, anything related to that. It is not worth it. And it's so enhanceable. There's mandatory sanctions for those kind of things. So he's got that. Then they got him for, let's look at the indictment. And it's 2 co-defendants ultimately. All 3 end up getting arrested. 2 co-defendants get charged or indicted federally. And the counts related to, one of them is Baby Max. Y'all know Baby Max? And here's the thing. They end up testing some of the bullets.
One of them is Baby Max. Do we know Baby Max? Come on.
Bullets or the firearm, and it's linked back to an alleged shooting in California. And so with this ongoing beef gang war out of Stockton. And so that's not the charge, but the evidence, they say, is somehow linked to another crime. And so he's being held with no bond. This was all in, I think, May of 2025. So this is last year. It's been a whole year. He's sitting in jail, no bond, transported from California back because he still had pending stuff over there. And then the Arkansas federal case, he gets shipped back to Arkansas because this case is supposed to be going to trial. The 5-count indictment as to EBK Jaaybo was transportation of a firearm in interstate commerce. Those are the legal words that get you into federal court for just having the gun. Possession of a machine gun, possession of a stolen firearm, possession with intent to distribute marijuana. I mean, maybe they were going to a show. Was that intent to distribute? It was one big bag. It wasn't, sometimes I'll get...
Yeah, it's the type of lawyer you want on your case, bro. She ain't going for just anything on my...
cases where they have everything's in a bunch of smaller bags. So that is more difficult to say it wasn't with the intent to distribute. But this was like one big, you know, kind of like Sam's wholesale bag. And then... possession of a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime. So those are the counts. And then, as always, you have the forfeiture counts. Remember, forfeiture is where they seize your stuff. Remember, they said something about, oh, there's money everywhere. They want your money. So as part of this, if you're committing a crime, a felony, we're allowed as law enforcement to take your belongings because they were used or have something to do with the crime. Sometimes it's the vehicle, sometimes it's...
When is the United Nations or somebody gonna step in, bro? These corrupt-ass police just do whatever they want, bro. I still think the driver was infidel, too.
It's the money, and their argument is that these are proceeds of illegal activity. And a lot of times I'll have clients and they're like, well, that wasn't from that. That was because, you know, I got some payment for a show I did, which is a legitimate legal source. Sadly, the law allows them to substitute assets. Okay, maybe that money is technically good, legal, clean money, but you've made a lot of unclean, illegal money, and so we can substitute. So one way or another, they're trying to take your money. So there were multiple counts of forfeiture, also saying that they believe that the firearm was stolen. They're going to keep the firearm. They're going to keep iPhone, gray and black Louis Vuitton backpack, and then the ammunition and the firearm, and obviously the money. It wasn't, I don't know, there was that much. It was like $8,000. I mean, it's not that much, but it wasn't like, you know, 200 grand. Yeah, it wasn't like the Kodak bag of money. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, and then, so before I had heard you got the 2 co-defendants, there were some motions. Surprise, surprise, the prosecution was doing a motion to bring in 404 evidence, which is like prior bad acts or prior evidence of his criminal history, evidence of photos, tattoos, gangs.
See, y'all forfeiture history. How about that? Since you want to look into people's history, bro. How many motherfuckers money y'all done stole?
Involvement and activity as related to this crime, right? So they're trying to do that. The defense team is trying to block that and say, Judge, no, you can't. And then the defense also filed a motion to sever which is to separate. Right, we did the Julio Fulio trial where the 4 co-defendants were all together. Here in for Jaaybo, his attorney said, I want to be severed. And he put in the background May 18th, it was 2025. They get stopped in Pope County, Arkansas. And then 3 occupants were in the vehicle, driver Michael Powell. So, okay, so he's the one who didn't ultimately get arrested because he's a retired drug dealer.
That's suspicious. Oh, my mama.
The rear passenger was Xavier Jones, so that's Baby Max, and then front passenger, Jaymani Gorman. He was the front passenger? So he was in the front seat? That stuff looked like it was in the back seat. Like, does he have a defense? Okay, constructive possession. Constructive possession is multiple people can possess one thing. So joint possession, constructive possession. I can be in a vehicle with 3 people and they can charge us all if they can prove. It doesn't matter who owns it. And we're like, that's not mine. It doesn't matter if it's yours or not. If you knew it was there and you had access and could get it, you can be charged with it. But if I don't know what my friend has in the back seat in his backpack or on the floor or whatever, if he's not letting me get it, if, you know, I may have a defense. They have to prove that I knew and that I had access to whatever and wherever it is. And they rarely test that stuff for like finger.
It's just hella strange, right? The person whose vehicle it is, he don't get arrested, but Jaaybo and them get arrested. Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Prints and DNA, but if he was in the front seat, so that potentially could have been a defense as to that. Anyway, during the stop, Michael Powell stated that the vehicle belonged to his brother. A search of the vehicle was based on the odor of marijuana. A Glock 21 with an extended magazine and a switch was located in the spare tire compartment of the vehicle. All of that not good. Stolen, switch, sawed-off shotguns, marked off serial numbers. That line where Pooh Shiesty's like, treat your glizzy like a collared shirt and button it up. Don't button it up. Don't button it up.
Oh, bro. So you telling me you be listening to Shiesty on your free time, man? Oh, that's cool, though. That's hopeful.
Oh, my gosh. Just keep it like as is, factory made. All right, a gray bag in the middle of the back seat was found to contain approximately 160 grams of marijuana. You know, it's in a bag. In the center console of the vehicle between the front seats, a pill bottle with 38 assorted pills of an unknown substance was found. After being taken into custody, Xavier Jones, who's Baby Max, he later claims ownership to the firearm to the cops. And then Jaaybo and Baby Max were both indicted. Michael Powell was not. I guess his little niceness and talkie paid off for him, maybe. So all of this, when I first saw this, I really thought, I'm like, there's a lot of issues. I think that there's basis to suppress possibly the stop. Like
Issue, bro. How the driver ain't get charged? That's the first issue we need to know, bro.
It was a little vague. I would want to, and you can't do depositions in federal court, so it's a little bit riskier. But nevertheless, you wonder, was it a good stop? Can they prove that he had access to it? You know, I just kind of expected this fight, and it was teed up for trial. So recently they had moved to continue the trial. The trial got set for July 20th. And just 2 days ago, I noticed that a notice of hearing was filed for what? For a plea. For Baby Max, we had heard that he was set to enter a plea. But what some people didn't realize is, so is Jaaybo. His attorney filed a notice of hearing saying, hey, June 4th, 10 a.m., Jaaybo's going to be entering a plea. Now, in federal court, you do get...
To take that 7 years, bro. Thought that shit through. I don't knock him either, bro. Free him.
Everything is sentencing is based on, loosely and maybe not loosely, based on the federal sentencing guidelines and where you fall in this range, and you do get extra points or a potential reduction for acceptance of responsibility. So it is always in federal court a big roll of the dice to go to trial, because you lose certain points that you get for accepting responsibility ahead of time, and you lose that if you roll the dice and go to trial. So you're automatically going to be sentenced to more if you're found guilty, because you don't get that reduction for acceptance of responsibility. But given this backdrop and given the fact that he was just a passenger in the vehicle and nothing like actually found on him, I thought maybe there'd be a fight there. And it's not typical that they're going to enter a plea and have an agreement with the prosecution. Okay, it's going to be this. Sometimes you can agree to where it's going to fall, what guideline range, but they are set to plea him out on June 4th. No taking it to trial. This is done. No motions to suppress. Case closed. Not sent.
I wonder if he exhausted all his resources, bro, while he been in there. Because they was saying he supposed to fight the case with a public defender, right? Well, I guess he ain't fighting no more. Take the deal, bro. Fuck it.
Though he's going to enter a plea. Most likely they're going to, well, not most likely, they will order a pre-sentence investigation, pre-sentence report where probation will speak with Jaaybo family members. The defense will be able to do a whole sentencing presentation or memorandum to the judge. The prosecution will do the same, and the judge ultimately has the final word. So on June 4th, he will be entering a plea of guilty to these charges. Now, will he be pleading to all of them? Did they somehow negotiate that he's only going to plead to a few and not the others? I don't know. I doubt it, but we'll see. And then a sentencing date will be set. So what do you guys think? Did you think that he was going to be entering a plea? How much time could he possibly get, given his prior history, given the fact that he had these allegations that are being made? Is it going to come into play? Are they going to back off on the gang and related information since he is willing to accept responsibility? Maybe they won't come at him so hard. I don't know. We're going to have to see. And it's a shame. It's a shame because such a promising career. We have another up and coming rapper.
Tell she love that music, bro. Now I'll be honest, right? I think Stunner Girl taught some sense into him, bro. And if she did, shout out Stunner, bro. You feel me? Because he was ready to go to trial with, I can understand if you know you ain't did shit, right? But you can't play with them people, bro. Sometimes you already know this shit be business. They just want a conviction, right? But yeah, bro, free Jaaybo. You understand me? It's good he come to his senses, bro. For real, bro. Because them people don't be playing. And it sound like a setup. Facts, bro. How the driver don't go to jail? He here for Dale.